So what I wanted to do today was talk about the possibility of a pretty fan favourite character coming back within the mainline series of the current RE games. As from the thumbnail and the title, you can probably tell I'm mainly talking about Jill Valentine for one specific detail that is quite prominent and fairly new as of late. So if you're unfamiliar, they announced a new animated movie coming out for Resident Evil called Death Island, and it features Chris, Leon, and Jill. If you haven't seen the trailer already, I do recommend watching it. I'll leave a link to it in the description. But basically, what we see is Jill Valentine, but it looks very much like she's not aged at all, and she looks very similar to how she did in RE3. Eventually, some more information came out about the show, and it did confirm it was set after RE5, and went on to say that due to kind of what happened to Jill in RE5 and how she was kind of like exposed to the virus and stuff like that, she ages slower basically than normal human beings. So that kind of does make sense as to why she looks not as young as she did. Like, you can still tell from some kind of clips that she's slightly older, but she definitely, ages a lot slower, and that does lead to a lot of theories about future mainstream titles. So there's no question at the minute with the release of RE Village that the main cast of characters from the original games, so Chris, Jill, Claire, Leon, they're all older at this point, and it is very noticeable, especially with Chris being in so many, and he's definitely older than what he was. But with Jill, because of what they've done with the character and how she ages slower than most, there's potential for her to come back and kind of remain, like a permanent, well, not permanent, but maybe like she's in a few more titles as opposed to Chris. Maybe they do kind of lead Chris out of a storyline and keep Jill in the forefront for a little bit. Or maybe she kind of is more prominent in the storyline, but it does still follow new characters. Like, she has a lot more opportunity to be brought back rather than like Chris, Claire, and Leon, who are, they're all normal people, they're all aging normally. And it would be really cool to see her come back in a mainline title, mainly RE9. Now, we know from the end of Village that maybe the BSAA will have some massive involvement in RE9, and Jill being one of those team members, it does make sense that she does play a pivotal role in the storyline. So a couple of things to mention about the CGI movie itself, in terms of when it's specifically set, in terms of the game storyline. So it's set in 2015, I believe, which is 2 years after RE6 in terms of the story in RE6, but about 4 years before the events of RE7. So there's quite a gap between mainline games, but it being set after 5, that does kind of confirm the fact that whatever has happened to Jill has already happened, so it's 100% confirmed by them. But don't expect anything to do with like the molded or Ethan or anything like that. But one thing that is good to know about the movies themselves is they tend to, while they are canon, they do tend to start kind of stand on their own. So you don't have to like know what happens in the games to understand what's happening in the movies. The stories are usually contained to themselves, but they're also 100% canon, so they do actually happen alongside the kind of mainline series of games and the Revelations games. They all kind of take place in the same kind of timeline, so that's definitely good. But yeah, it would be cool to see Jill come back in some fashion, especially with that kind of, is it a loophole? I guess it's a loophole now, where you can bring her back more often than others. So let me know what you think about that. I think regardless of what they do with the character, I think it is safe to assume that another old character will probably come back in RE9, now that the Winter's storyline is over, but it's going to probably be a couple years until that game even comes out, so there's no point really trying to speculate yet. But with what they've done to Jill, it's a high possibility, I would say, that she does come back. And of course, her long involvement with the BSAA, so again, storyline and plot hole wise, it makes a lot of sense to do so. But that's pretty much going to do it. Short video today, but I am kind of streaming at the same time, so feel free to come check that out if you are watching this video. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Leave your thoughts on the whole Jill situation down in the comments. If you didn't want to see her come back, who do you want to see come back more? I'm sure there's a huge debate over who wants to be seen come back first, but let me know who you want to see. Thank you all for watching. Remember to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more Resident Evil content, and I'll catch you in the next one.